Alright, so once we last left off, we were... That's cool. That's not what I was trying to do at all. Alright. Thought I held spacebar. There we go. We're going to make this graphic. Just to give you an idea of what we're going to go for. I just want to make it... So what we've been generally drawing have been more or less... I'll show you. This is what we're doing. We've been more or less doing this kind of style, right? So just kind of classic, cartoony style, I guess we'll say. I don't know. What I'm going to do on this one, though, is I want to do more of this. So this is going to be like a close-up. I'm thinking kind of like, you know, like in SpongeBob or like Ren and Stimpy. They would do like close-ups of like paintings and they would be all real detailed. But I want to do more of like kind of a shapy kind of thing with this. Just so you can see there's other styles available. Most of the time when I see work done inside of anime, they generally fall into one of the two categories. Either they do sort of this kind of linear, you know, clearly a stroke and a fill, and like it's just cartoony style, or they'll do this very shapy, clean kind of, I don't want to say UPA, but, you know, flat, graphical kind of look, and generally fall in one of those two categories. And I mean, they'll split off into other ones as well, but the way they'll treat the graphics will be treated either one or the other. So I'm gonna just show you how to draw this way, just so we cover something a little bit different in case, you know, you want to do yours in a different graphical style. But you could also look online and see if, you know, there's other ways of drawing that might make you feel warm and fuzzy. Okay, so I'm gonna open up this this one here. I'm gonna back this thing up, and then I am just going to click and drag over all of it, and then I'm gonna right click over top of it, and we're gonna distribute to layers. What that's gonna do is it's automatically going to take all of the stuff and put them on new layers. Okay, so the one I really need is this arm body, so I'm going to put this guy up here. We'll take this arm, I'm just going to put this underneath because I don't actually need that, so I'm going to put it behind the background so you don't even see it. The phonemes I don't need, so I'm going to go ahead and lock those. We'll draw those after. And then cone body is the one that I need. So I'm going to double click on this, and we're going to take the opacity to 50%, and I'm just going to go ahead and lock it. Because I'm just going to use it as a guide, and then we're actually going to draw on this one, and I'm just going to call this one cone. All right. So you may have noticed the other one. Basically, the idea with this is that there are no strokes; it's just fills. So we could draw this any number of ways, but the idea here is to try and keep it as clean and what have you as possible. So I'm just going to go ahead and start with this rectangle tool, and then I like to actually just go ahead and put a stroke on there, but I'm going to put, like, let's say blue, and then for the color, we'll just put something that mildly represents what it is. So we'll say this, and then, so stroke and fill, and I'm going to make the stroke pretty big because I don't really care about it. We're going to remove it after anyway, but it's just easier to see the lines when you have it. So I'm just going to kind of draw a shape. Now you can see I can't see it, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this cone body and put it above it, and then make sure you click back on it, and that way I can see through it, and, you know, subsequently affect it. So I'm just going to hit V for the select tool. It's going to be very similar to what we did before, pretty much, at least to start with. I'm going to grab that, and I'm going to pull this guy up here, and then I got snapping all on, which is super annoying. I don't like the snapping, and no matter how many times you turn it off, it always turns itself back on the next time you open it up, which is really nice. Because that's exactly what we'd want, right? Just to have it constantly do the thing you don't want it to. That seems to be the story of my life. All right. And then I just need to do this, so I'm just going to go ahead and use my line tool and just kind of cut across. Someday my prince will come. There it is. Draw the line across. Okay. And I'm just going to delete this inside one. Go like this. Just again using the select tool. Make the belly come out. Right. Something like, yeah, like that. Pull this down a little bit more. So I, oh, no, thank you. Okay. And just so I have a little bit more work. Okay. Boom, that was good. Okay, so now, oh, and this guy here. Okay, so now we clearly got the general silhouette of it. Looks pretty good. Now what I'm going to do is draw the lines across here. So I'm just going to go ahead and with the line tool, cut across, like so. Use V. Really good at this today. Boom, boom. Click this, delete. Come on, click that, delete. Click that, delete. Click that, delete. Make sure the background's locked too, and this thing. That way I'm not messing with anything else. Okay, I got that. That looks acceptable. And now what I want to do is I just want to make a shadow that's going to kind of cover this back area here. Right now everything's white, and that's fine, but I'm going to do that. So I'm just going to go ahead and we're going to cut this way, because I'm going to put a shadow up here as well. And then cut this way, and then I'm going to cut, oh man, I'll just go like that, and we'll just pull it down. I'll hit V, and I'll just pull this farther down, like that. Okay? And we're just going to grab this, push this to the side, get rid of these extra nublets here. Just going to pull this up so you don't notice it. That's probably fine. Go like this with this one, delete, delete, kind of curve that like that, and delete. Okay? So that's good. Control minus. Okay. So now we've got kind of the base bottom here, and now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use gradients to kind of fill it in. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and do where'd my fill? Boom. Go to the fill here, and I'm going to hit the color swatch here, and maybe I can snap you. Can I snap you into? Because I use it so much. Come on, get in there. Sweet. There it goes. Okay. I use it so much it'd be useful just to have it readily available instead of having to deal with it otherwise. All right, so yeah, so I'm just gonna basically try to do a gradient instead. So I'm gonna do a radial gradient for inside here, and what I'm gonna do is click on this, and I just want to copy that, Control C, so I have my starting color. I'm gonna click on this, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and paste that in here. Hit enter, and now there's that orange, and I'm gonna do the same thing here. Oh, sorry, got it, good. So sometimes it does show up there, so I usually just paste it in both, and that way they're the same. Okay, so good. So I want to take this and make this kind of a lighter orange. So this is more or less just going to be like that. Okay. More or less, a little bit higher. Okay. More or less it's just going to be a slight lightness to darkness or whatever. So with that like that, I'm just going to click in here. Yeah, make sure. Oh, so this is actually doing it to the gradient. I need to do it, or to the stroke. I need to make sure it's on the fill. So if you just hit this little arrow here, it'll swap it. So now it did it. But you notice that it's going dark to light. I actually want to do it the opposite. So I'm just going to go back here. Good job. Undo that maybe? No, you don't want to. Cool. All right, so I just need to get it back up. So if I hit I and sample this, it'll come back up. So I'm just going to swap these. Grab this one, pull that one off. I don't know what happened there. Take this one, put this guy over here, put this guy over here. This somehow got super light. Control V, make sure that's still in the orange spectrum. And we're just going to make this kind of a light orange. Good. Okay. And just re-click and paint in there, and now it's got that. Okay. So once that's in there, all I'm going to do, and I'm also got to paint in here as well. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the gradient tool. If yours is not up there, just hit these three dots, and you should be able to drag it. It's right here. Okay, you just drag it in there, and all the tools are up here. So if you see me use a tool and it's not there, you just got to go in there. I won't be able to use some of the tools that are in here anymore because my video card broke. So, and yo soy muy pobre, and I can't afford a new one. So, anyways, I'm gonna grab that gradient tool, click in here, and then you're gonna see basically the manipulator for the gradient. So I'm just gonna kind of click and pull this in. Control minus. And let's see. Kind of rotate this. The general scale one. Alright, well, I'm just going to kind of go like this. Alright. Go like that. Let me see. Control plus. I want it to be relatively subtle. I'm not looking to. Rotate it. So let's say something like that. That's fine. Okay. So next I want to do is go ahead and do this darker color here. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and on this make a new gradient. So we will. I'm going to make this one. Actually, we got to leave it radial now I think about it. We're going to swap these again because I didn't even have you selected. How come you're changing that color? Click off. It's weird. Okay. I'm going to swap these colors. And so this is going to be a dark color. So I'm going to go kind of darkish, deepish. And then, actually, sorry. We're going to take this one, and I'm just going to make this one a little bit darker. So it's going to start from like, I didn't select you though. So why are you doing that? Okay. Make sure it's a little bit deeper, darker, and I'm going to pull this one out. And then the other thing I'm going to do is, because he's on this like green color here, I'm going to go ahead and add one. You can just click in here and it will add one. If you add one, you can just pull it out to take it away too. Just gonna put it on the end here, and I'm just going to try and get like kind of a greenish highlight kind of color. I just want it real subtly in the back. It's a little too strong, so I'm going to click in the middle there and then pull this one there. That's a little better. Okay. Actually, let's go like that. Alright, let's see how that does. So now what I'm going to do is just go ahead and use my fill and click in here and click in there. I'm going to grab my gradient, click inside of that again, and now I'm going to just adjust it once again. So let's grab this one. And I want to make this roughly kind of following the curve here. So I'm just going to try and get this to be roughly the same as that. Oops, wrong one. With the rotate. That's pretty good. Okay. And then I'm just going to pull this way. And actually, I'm going to pull this direction instead. There we go. And let's see. Let's rotate. Stupid thing. Come on. Okay. Rotate this again a little bit. Move this over this way. Squish this a little bit more. Like that. Alright. And then I'm not super happy with it. I'm just not getting it. Let's pull this guy off altogether just so I can see where the gradient is. And I'm going to turn this off because I can't see what I'm doing that well, to be honest. So, this guy. Oh, never mind. Let's pull this back this way a little bit so I can see the better gradient. Okay. Alright, now that's working a little bit better. Okay, so I'm just going to add one in here and make this a little bit more orange so it's not quite so deep. Put this a little bit tighter. And then I'm just going to move this over a little bit like that, we'll say. Okay, that's fine. Alright, now what I'm going to do is this. I'm just going to go ahead and select all of it, and I'm just going to remove. If you select all of it, I can go to stroke and just turn it off. So right now it's blue, now the stroke's off. You can see we have this kind of curvature. Now you can see this band, right, has this color on it, which I don't really want, so I'm just going to fix that again by doing a gradient. So I'm going to go to my fill tool here, and this time I'm going to do a linear gradient. And we're going to put this, actually we'll leave that guy there, is fine. And make that one light. I'll leave this one kind of this dark. I'll put one here. And then I'll put one light again. I'm going to pull that a little bit tighter. It's a little bit lighter. Okay. Actually, I need you gone too. So more like that. Okay. And then I'm just going to click and fill that with it. And again, we're going to click my gradient tool, which is F as well. And it is gigantic. Let's pull this all the way in, like so, and rotate it. And it's got to go this way. Let's pull it this way, like so. Okay. And now you can see we kind of have that band. So the idea, I'm trying to get like this kind of green, like reflected light from the background is what I was thinking. I don't know. Alright, so that looks acceptable. So what else did I put in there? Let me see. His arm and eyes. Okay, so you can actually, let's do his eyes next and then we'll do his arm. So I'm going to start off with no stroke, and then I'm going to go ahead and do his eyes. So I'm going to we're going to switch this to a radial. I'm going to make it like white. I'm going to take this and make this basically black. Pull this really super tight here. I'm going to click in here and then drag this down here. Pull this all the way this way, all the way this way. So this is going to be like the highlight in the eye, and this will be the reflected underneath part. And then we'll just go like this. And you can kind of see, Control plus, what we have here. So I'm just going to click on my gradient tool, click inside of here, and let's see, it's like really small. Alright, and I'm I'm just going to pull this up a little bit. Like that. And Control minus. And now you can see it's got the little bit of the highlight thing, and it's got this. So, you know, I wonder if I should just have it highlight the orange instead. That might look cooler. Let's try doing that instead. Or like the orange color that's underneath him. Oh, I thought I had it selected. Hang on a second. So make sure you get it selected first. Then it'll work. Click on this. And we'll do kind of like that. Yeah, well, okay. So I'm just going to hit Q to make this a little bit smaller. Alright, and I'm going to skew it a little bit too. So I hit Control plus to get a little bit closer. And then I'm just going to, come on buddy, you can do it. You can do it. Give it to me. There. I'm going to skew it just a little bit. And then if you hold Alt as you drag, actually make sure I got the select tool. Hold Alt while you drag, it will duplicate it. This works in Photoshop as well. Hit Q again. We're just going to scale this because this is his back eye. So we're just going to scale it down a little bit more. Control minus. And then I'm just going to select both of them with the regular select, the V here. And we're going to put them like this. Okay. Alright, you can see now he's got that kind of going on. And then I'm just going to show you the arm, how to do that. So I'm just going to use the line tool here. But we can actually, if I select stroke, this is how you switch between them. If I select stroke, I can actually, instead of just doing a solid color for the stroke, I can actually do a linear gradient, let's say. And so I could do, I'm just going to use the same one I used for the eyes here, except I'm going to change this back to the green. Oh, you know what though? Actually, maybe it does make sense for it to be orange. I don't know. We'll do that color. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my stroke, and I think it needs to be like 15. And now when I click and draw my stroke, I'm going to go like this. Ish. I'll hit the V to just kind of give it a little bit of a bend. Okay. And then I'm going to select my gradient tool, click over top of it, and then you can actually see, we can actually do, there you go, we can actually do the gradient, we can affect it here as well. So I wanted the highlight to be on this side, so I'm just going to rotate it around, and I'm going to squish it a little bit, like that, and move it over. I'm not getting much of my green. I guess we got to squish it a little bit more. Let me just make this a little bit more subtle. Let's click off. So you get a little bit of the highlight, a little bit of the green, but you can do it on strokes as well. I don't know if that well that's working. Good. So the other thing I did was I also did like an eyeshadow kind of thing. I'll just do that real quick so you get an idea of how that works. So I'm just going to go ahead and make the stroke nothing. Click back on this guy again. Hit escape because I don't actually want to change it. So I'm going to select it. And then we have this here. Now, if I want to get this, if I want to have the same thing as this, all you have to do is if you hit the eye tool. Now watch, if I click on this one, you're going to see it's actually going to give me not just the color I'm clicking on, but the actual gradient, which is pretty awesome. So if I want, if I wanted this eyeball, if I click on this, it'll give me the gradient of that eyeball. So you can sample not just the color specifically, but the actual gradient, which is super helpful. So I want this one because I want this to be able to bleed into it. So I'm going to grab that, and then it's a radial gradient, but this time I'm going to switch it to a linear gradient, and I'm just going to draw this eyeball like so, and Control plus. And I'm just going to go ahead and use my gradient tool. And we're going to rotate it this direction. And this is going to have to get adjusted because this isn't going to actually quite work as it is, but it's a start. And let's hit Q and make it just a little bit bigger. I'm going to hold Control as well. And just, if you hold Control, it allows you to kind of go like this as opposed to just doing this. Or Command if it's on a Mac. So let's just kind of go like that. And I'm going to hold Alt. Okay, I'm going to hold Alt and click and drag to get a second one for the other eye. And I'm just going to scale it down a little bit. And I'm going to grab this one and this one. Pull these guys over here. And we'll just kind of put them in there. Now you can see it's going to leave holes right here. So you can just go ahead and fill those. Like if I hit I, sample this, and then hit K for the fill. If I fill them in, it will fill them in with the appropriate fill, which is nice. Okay, now I'm just going to go ahead and grab these guys. I'm going to put these back up here. And I'm not really liking that a whole lot. So I think this needs to come in a bit. It wasn't enough. Oops. There we go. I'm just going to move this up a little. There we go. Okay, I'm going to hit Q and just shrink this guy a little bit more. Put this guy back on there. Okay. Oops. Thank you. Put this a little bit closer again. It's got pretty close eyes. Okay, we'll call that good enough. Alright, so put that in there. Hit Control plus. And then what I'm going to do is just use this as a way of him kind of emoting, if you will. So we're just going to kind of go like this. Pull this one this way. And I'm looking at this, and I'm not super pleased with the gradient. So I'm going to select both of them at the same time. And it doesn't really give it to... Okay, we'll just grab the one. Alright, so I'm going to select this one. I'm just going to change the dark color here to a little bit darker. Alright, and then we're going to make the light color a little bit less, more sad. Wait a minute, which one do I have right now? Oh, I have the wrong one. I wanted this one. And then make sure the darker one's a bit darker. Okay, click off. Alright, and then with that, I'm just going to go ahead and fill in this one. I'm just going to hit K, fill that one in. I'm going to go to my fill tool, and we'll just kind of subtly scale this down. Grab this guy. Okay. So sometimes what happens with this is that it is connected to other ones. So when I click on this, it's actually affecting, this is actually affecting both of them. So let's see if, oh, it's not, but another one's affecting it anyway. So in order to fix that, what you want to do is just select it. Just switch like Radial Gradient and then go back to linear. And now when I go to use the fill, you'll see it'll have its own. For some reason, it by default tries to connect itself to whatever other thing has the gradient. So I don't know where else has this gradient because it's just these two, but whatever. Minus, minus, minus. Okay. And yeah, so now you can kind of see now he's got sad eyes. I know that was a lot and it's probably a little bit confusing and stuff, so I don't blame you. If yours isn't perfect, that's fine. I just wanted to get an idea that you can kind of play around with the gradients and try to make them, try to make it look a certain way. I like some of this, but let's pull this up too. It just wasn't matching. So you can kind of play around with it and see what you get, right? So, but you can see you can get a variety of looks. So, it's one other thing I want to do. So, I'm going to take this guy, and we're going to go ahead and convert him to a thing, and I'm just going to call him like sad or cone. Sorry, lowercase cone underscore standing sad. Okay, underscore MC. And I'm just going to add a couple effects just to kind of further help things. So when I have, it has to be a symbol for this to work. I'm going to go ahead and go down these filters, and I'm just going to go ahead and add a drop shadow. But I'm going to use this actually as a highlight and not a shadow. So what I'm going to do is the strength, leave that. I'm going to change the color to white. And you can see what it's going to do is because it's right on the edge, you're just going to assume that it's actually a highlight. I'm going to change the angle a little bit here, so it's a little bit more above. And then I'm going to change the blur to 2 and 2, and that'll just make it a little bit tighter. And then I'm just going to go ahead and add another shadow, another drop shadow, and this one needs to be like 160-ish. I want it back here, and I'm going to take the blur X and just go way farther with it. Maybe that was too far. And the distance will go a little bit farther over. I'm going to take the strength down a little bit, and that will just help him pop as well. So now you can see he's a very sad cone. Alright, so hopefully you get an idea, it's another look, another way of working. Alright, So yeah, just do the best you can with that. Like I said, I'm not expecting it to be perfect. If you get stuck on something, just go to the next part and just try to do the best you can. The gradients are a little bit funky in here. I really don't honestly personally like working with them because it takes so long to kind of get it right that it's frustrating, and it doesn't, you're animating, so usually you're creating a lot of graphics. So unless you're working with a whole group of people and you have people working at just this part, it's time consuming. So, but I didn't want to show you like another way of doing it. All right. Good luck. Did want to mention one other thing actually. So when you are done with this, I just want you to save it. Okay. Just save this your animate file. Okay. I'm just going to back up to scene 1 here. When you are done, what I want you to do is save it. But make sure, because I had you guys make your own background here, make sure that you put yours back there. So I'm going to give you the scene with my background and all these elements in it, just so that you can do the part where you're laying it all out. But instead of this background that I have here, I want you to put your background that you painted inside of there. Okay, so make sure the scene 1 has your background, and then so you should do that. You should bring it in, lay it out the way you see here, and then once you get this laid out, you're just going to go ahead and you are going to just do what I just did here. Draw this guy, save that whole thing, and then save it, and then just submit that. All right. Now you're good to go.